Hello, friends. Yes, I know I'm really bad at making these sorts of videos where I just so as I can. Oh, it's been very, very sad, it's been very, very sad, and I'm gonna have to do this any other. But this is sort of one of those videos, but also I'm gonna make it not. Because it's just been practical about things. It's been practical about things, and it's not a bad thing in itself. So yeah, stick with me. Please, I'll try and keep it as succinct as possible, even if I can't say the word properly. I don't know, doesn't matter. So, first off, a word of warning again. I know I've mentioned this topic before when talking about importing from Japan, and I've not been stung yet. I might be being stung for import tax, and this is the point I wanted to make. So I've got some Tomix orders that came in yesterday, last night, and I had already sorted them out. So this one and these two in one order, this one in its own order, both below the limit. Good days. And not for the first time, Hobby Search has combined them into one, making one £200 order all in all, £202.30 I think it is, which obviously is above the import rate. So import is roughly 20% of that, so looking at 40 odd quid, 40 to 50 quid extra I'm going to have to pay on top of that, which is more than the, even if it's £20 shipping on each, that's more than the two shippings, you know. So yes, I have messaged them. They've taken the payment, but I have messaged them saying, look, you said you'd put a note on my account to not combine orders like this for me. I have done my best to combine them all so there's as few packages as possible, and I once again apologise for the extra work this might cause, where you've got to do two parcels for me rather than you could just do one. But this is how we have to do business since we sort of agreed with this. Anyway, I haven't heard back yet, and I'm not likely till Monday. The time I'm recording is Saturday. So yes, potentially, I mean they haven't shipped yet, so they're not likely to, because it's only the shipping team I believe that are in on Saturdays. The parcel, the Kato products that came in yesterday morning have shipped. So I'm guessing that I'm not going to see those other ones go. So that's just just please folks, be careful. This is why I don't openly recommend places like that, because I don't want anyone to turn around and, well, you said this place was really good and I've just been stung for this. This is why I don't recommend those things, because simply with that, because of that, it's I'm fairly used to this now. I am disappointed, somewhat cross with them, that after really sort of having to go through the mill last time with it, that it's happened again. So hopefully we can sort this one before it hits that problem and all will be okay. Yeah, so that's number one. And number two is my collection here. So nothing too scary, but there are far more non-Steam locos in this collection than there are Steam. I started with Steam, but there are far more non. Have I got a problem with this? No, I'm the one buying them. you know. So no, I don't ultimately have a problem with those. However, those who know me or know me for any sort of time know that I am a Steam enthusiast. Steam is always going to be well up there. Diesel electrics are cool, but Steam's going to be well up there. We've had several waves of announcements, which, by the way, I'm going to have to stop doing the announcement videos, because you do one, another one appears, you do one, another one appears, it's like, oh my god, I can't keep up with this. It's taking too much of my time to keep doing them, so I might just keep it to the I don't know, I was going to say I might give it to Catherine Atomics, but even then, it's still a lot. So, because we've had new from both within the past week. Yeah, so I might just do some highlights, maybe go, oh, I'm getting this one, this one's cool. And there are some very cool things, and again, they're all modern image. A lot of it is 80s onwards stuff. So, Steam obviously ended in the 70s, but all this is sort of, I suppose, late 70s, 80s onwards stuff. There's some very, very cool trains there. Very, very cool trains. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing a modern image layout at all. But I do need my Steam. So, Tsuruno Michi was built with that in mind. That's why I'm never putting electrification stuff, because it's meant to suit the Steam engines a bit more than the ones I've got. I've got a fine collection of Steam engines, do not get me wrong. But the lack of any in any of the announcements so far has got me going, right, okay. So basically, rather than getting a monk about it and what am I going to do, well, I'm still going to enjoy, because obviously this layout is my exhibition layout. It's my current only layout. And at some point will be being moved from here to allow a more modern Japanese layout to be built. So anyone who's thinking, oh god, this is very, it's going to say it's going to go do something else instead. But yeah, so this one will be my older layout. I'll run my Steam engines on it. I've got a fine fleet. I'm very lucky to have a fine fleet of Steam engines. And, just because it's been done so far doesn't mean it's going to be done in the future. However, the way I'm learning that my brain works, I need that contingency in place. I need something that I can go, yeah, but I can say categorically, I can do what I'd like to do here, or I know this is going to be possible to happen. This is going to be able to happen. So, had a bit of a think. I was having a bit of a think about this. A bit of a chat with two of my good friends. Very fortunate to be friends with both Oak Hill of Oak Hill Works and the chappie behind many 3D print designs sold through Oak Hill Works, actually. Yes, lots of the Narrowgauge products and so on. So very, very good friend. Very fortunate to be friends with them. And also, yes, I have sort of brief discussion with Anthony as well. And again, I'm fortunate to be friends with anyone really, I think, sometimes. Again, brainy. I don't need enemies, I've got my own. I don't need any others. Anyway, about what to do about this. And anyway, it was a chance click on Facebook at lunchtime the other day. I saw a post on Buggles Kelly Station, the group for it, where we can share our modelling and everything else. And someone had posted, Oxford Rail done a load of announcements, and some of you may know this was going, because in the past I have shown, on other channels I have shown a liking for the Great Western. But if you're in doubt before and you know what they've announced, then you'll be in no doubt now. But anyway, basically, the Aberdare. I have known about the Aberdare, I think, since I was about 14 or so. I've wanted one ever since. So yeah, I've banged on about how, especially once the Duke Dog and the City came out, like the Aberdare, that's the obvious one next, surely. Or that, or a Duke or a Bulldog, seeing as they got the halves of both of those. But yeah, didn't think, had multiple ideas about converting one from a Class 08 shunter, and Dapol, well, former Kitmaster, City class boiler, and trying to mangle one out of those. But they've announced one, and even though when I first pre-ordered it, I was just like, yeah, you know what? Even as a shelf queen, this is something that I need. I can't bang on about it all those years and not get one, so I've got one of those on order. Anyway, that evening I spoke to my two friends, and talked about it with them and sort of said, you know, yeah, actually I've had a couple of ideas come to mind now for a layout. And ultimately, this has wound up in 3 more pre-orders. I know. I should be safe though, I think, because I've looked at the other 3 Rapido Trains pre-orders, because they announced something, and the first word was an expletive in my mind, shouted, and I did send this to them. Went, you know, being caught out, Indian red frames on Great Western engines are just the best. If it's available in Indian red frames, that's the livery to get, in my book. And of course they've announced the 4500 Prairie Tank, Indian red frames. Oh, needed that, so yeah, gone for that. That's been followed by a Highland Loch class Loch Ness. I have the Hornby Blue Loch Ness, which is a Cayley Pug as a base model, which I know that Oxford have also announced now. But yeah, no. But I thought it was probably about time I got the proper one. And I've also gone for one of the C-12 Atlantic tanks of the Great Northern. So not really the only thing binding these together is they're all pre-grouping designs. And what can I do? And the idea struck me. One thing that I love about my Japanese collection, the modern trains from Japan, is the colours, the bright colours, and something about pre-grouping railways that is a big draw is the bright colours. London North Western aside, is the bright colours. But even then, the polished up Blackberry black with the lining and everything really did look smart on those, so let off. But basically, I've often mused about the idea of doing a Statfold-esque 009 layout over the past couple of years or so. And, you know, it's something I thought about. And I suddenly thought, oh, hang on a minute, what about Statfold? But what if Statfold was standard gauge? And, you know, like the Bluebell have managed to collect all these southern locos, or, you know, constituent company locos. What about if their theme was pre-grouping? That by some magic, which I'm going to let other people worry and argue about, as to how they could have done it, some magic they managed to put together a load of pre-grouping locos in one place. For the most part, I've got other locos that aren't in pre-grouping liveries or built later, which I'll also run on that layout. But basically a simple principle of actually not a huge railway, but just enough to give these engines, I suppose, I don't know how many, if you were to make Statfold a scale of a standard gauge railway, basically scale distance, the same distances there, but sorted out for standard gauge. Rather than having a balloon loop model, just have to go in there, it'll have to go in the new space. Rather than having a balloon loop modelled, I'm thinking about just having a big turntable baseboard, so I can just turn the whole tray around and have it reappear as if it's coming back off the balloon loop. But yes, crazy things to think about in a standard gauge railway, but hey, it's going to scratch that itch, and that's where I now, having thought about this, that doesn't have to be set in stone, but I thought about that basic idea of basically a heritage line with pre-grouping models everywhere. For the most part, I'm great. I gain so many things. I gain engines with names, different colours, and yeah, it's things I can go and see fairly easily as well. My Pico Belgian loco can run on it as well, so that's another bonus. Obviously my 1P tank that some of you may know I've got. I don't know how many of these, because these are on other channels, which is the final point I want to bring you onto. You're going to say, thank goodness, at 15 minutes almost, or 14 minutes just gone. My final point being that I'm going to make this channel far more dual mode, so there is going to be more UK content on here, as well as obviously I like Statfold last weekend where I uploaded it here, basically like that for anything I go and do railway wise. And there will be a UK layout, at least 2 UK layouts in the future. One will be whatever it is I end up doing in the new space with more room. But in the first instance, there's going to be an Inglenook shunting puzzle, working with my fine chum Greg on how to make a folding baseboard so it could be stored easily, and so that's something I can set up in here, have a shunt, I've got my wagons, have a shunt about, try and make it just long enough that some of those engines I just mentioned can, like the Aberdare at least, can shunt the yard so I can enjoy it and have some fun with that before I move into the big space. So yes, so that's what I say. It's not one of those, oh, because hobby search annoyed me. That's it. I'm not doing Japanese anymore. I'm smashing this layout. No. It's nothing as silly as that. I'm disgruntled. There's a warning there for others. I'm absolutely loving what I'm doing with my Japanese layout, but it's lacking one element for me, I suppose, if we could say. And here's a golden opportunity. It's presented itself at just the right time. Because I have no prior knowledge of anything. Oh, and just coming back to being safe with the ones I have ordered. Given that the Aberdare is still CAD renders in a minute, and how long the J26 was it? Last one to come out took to come out, I should be safe. I think for a year or so, hopefully. And with the Rapido ones, they're all to be confirmed on their release dates and that, because they're right at the bottom of the list, and there's stuff that's expected to come in Q4 ahead of them, and then stuff that's received tooling ahead of those, ahead of them again as well. So there's two things ahead, sets of things ahead of them at the minute. Now they could suddenly have a burst of life and appear, but I'm thinking again that probably at the very least after Q4 at the earliest, after Q4 maybe this year, by the time they've had the samples, corrected those, delivery samples, corrected those, and that. So it should be fairly safe. So always my plan this year was to wind down my pre-orders heading into the second half of the year, because I want to look at the 009 layout, which I still want to do, and obviously it allows me now a bit more freedom here. But yes. So let's just push forward again. I always say it's a big mistake for me to go back to UK modelling. I don't think it will be, providing I keep it in this sense of this fun. It's that always remember to have fun that's written on that box there, and I think that's the big thing. Not worrying about I want to model the LNER. I need to try and make sure I get everything I can, and get frustrated, get myself overwhelmed. I overwhelm myself, and I think that's part of the issue. So it's realising, no, don't try and push yourself too hard. Nice simple idea. You can buy the bits you want. You can buy them at leisure. Obviously certain things like the Aberdare I absolutely have to have. That Great Northern tank has been tempting me for some time. I feel quite strong that I've resisted it so far. But yes, it's just doing things. Relax. It's a hobby, not a job. There's no one's gonna. I'm not gonna have a one-to-one meeting where we're not happy with performance or something like that. It's going to be about this. I have a beautiful layout, and it should blow your own trumpet like that, but I do have a beautiful layout with some fantastic trains, and I can enjoy running those. And because this is one of my other problems in the past, is I would have tried to move this out the way somehow to put some double O track in. No, I'm not going to do that. Not only that, the first bit of double O track. Actually, Scott's Rails, if you're watching, sir, if you're still watching, a bit of inspiration from yourself as well, where you said something about you're not going to show those trains running, the new ones you got, until you had a layout for them. And basically that's what I'm going to sort of copy in a way, paraphrase I suppose, is once we've got this baseboard down, then I'll put some track on that, the folding one. Once we've got that worked out, get some track on that. I did try and build one. It's in the loft now. I'm not particularly happy with it. Otherwise I'll be using it. Put some track on that, get that sceneried, which is the most important thing first. Get that scenicked, and then then I'll run some trains, and then I'll. So the video probably will be basically here's the board, and then from there, as opposed to I'm going to start making the baseboard. Here's how you do it. So it's going to be very much a right. Got the board. Let's go. Let's just run with this. Because and that's may not be the second half of this year as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy. I've got I got very kind, my finest chum donated to me a hard drive he'd bought that wouldn't fit his computer, which I've now put all my train sims on. I've actually put more of my train sims on, so I've got plenty of train games to play where I can look at British trains, and if I want to scratch that itch for a bit. Otherwise I can run the trains on my layout, and I can go and see some real ones as well. So yes, anyway, I can smell my dinner's ready. I'm cooking it, so hopefully I've not burnt it now, but hey. So I'll find out in a minute. I suppose it might be pizza after all. Anyway, take care all, stay safe and be well. Arigato gozaimashita, and sayonara. Always remember to have fun, folks. And yeah, and yes, don't put too much pressure on yourselves. That's a big lesson to take away from this video, I suppose. But yes, right, toodle pip.